Xiao Yan utilized the heavenly flames to break through the energy curtain leading to the third layer, rescuing everyone. Continuing from the last chapter, Xiao Yan and Suner were ambushed in the heavenly tomb by the Soul Clans Hunli and Hunya. Not only did the ambush fail, but Hunli also lost an arm, allowing these two scoundrels to flee. During Xiao Yan's battle with the 9-star energy entity, the two attempted to ambush Xiao Yan once again. Hunli said, "Xiao Yan, you may have defeated the ancient demon, but you may not necessarily defeat me. This grudge for my broken arm, you will settle it today." Hunli's expression was gloomy, his hands swiftly forming some peculiar seals. As these seals coalesced, a black vortex suddenly appeared on his forehead. The vortex slowly rotated, and an eerie rune quietly emerged on Hunli's brow, saying, "It's your fortune that I use my clan mark to deal with you." Hee, surprised, aren't you? Such a clan mark, someone like you from the declining Xiao clan, doesn't have the qualifications to possess. Looking at the solemn expression that appeared on Xiao Yan's face, Hunli sneered coldly. These ancient clansmen generally do not practice any amplification secret techniques similar to the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes, because the clan mark they possess is actually the most powerful secret technique in the world. Although this kind of secret technique consumes a lot, it does not damage the body at all, and things like secret technique backlash never happen. With such a strange clan mark, other secret techniques that either consume blood or rely on self-harm to enhance strength are naturally not worth mentioning in their eyes. Xiao Yan frowned slightly. He did not expect that this clan mark actually had such an effect. If he could also activate the clan mark when he fought with the ancient demon that day, the outcome might really be uncertain. Hunli said, "All right, Xiao Yan, next. I'll let you experience what real despair is." Black fog surrounded, and the ferocious look on Hunli's scarred face became even more intense. Now, his aura has almost reached the peak of the 8 stars, and there is a faint sense of reaching the level of the 9-star Do Zun. This kind of strength has far exceeded Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan took a deep breath in his heart. Skyfire 3 mysterious changes. First transformation. Second transformation. Third transformation. The Skyfire 3 mysterious changes were almost instantly activated to the extreme, but this time, when the Do Qi in Xiao Yan's body surged, he suddenly felt a faint itchy sensation from the center of his forehead, but this sensation flashed and disappeared, making him think it was just an illusion. As Xiao Yan's figure retreated violently, Hunli looked astonished, his gaze tightly locked on the center of Xiao Yan's forehead. When Xiao Yan performed the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes just now, he seemed to faintly see a strange rune flickering in the center of the latter's forehead. This rune, as a member of the Soul Clan, he was not unfamiliar with, because it represents the clan mark of the Xiao clan, the archenemy of their Soul Clan back in the day. Was that just the clan mark of the Xiao clan? How could that be? The bloodline power of the Xiao clan has been completely abandoned. How could it still have a clan mark? I must have seen it wrong. It's no wonder that Hunli is a bit out of place. The clan mark is only possessed by the 8 ancient clans, because it is stimulated by the power of blood, and now the bloodline of the Xiao clan has long been abandoned, and it is impossible to still have a clan mark. Hunli thought in his heart, whether I saw it wrong or not, this kid has too many tricks. Kill him first. Hunya can't hold on for much longer, and the girl from the Gu clan is too strong. Xiao Yan, give up your life. Hunli shouted. Looking at Hunli, who was approaching again, Xiao Yan also slowly took a breath, and after this guy borrowed the power of the clan mark, his strength has increased greatly, and it is even stronger than the ancient demon. If you fight hard, I'm afraid it will be another fierce battle. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered slightly, and after a while, the seal in his hand suddenly changed. It's time to try the power of this thing. Just as Xiao Yan's hand seal changed, the ground below suddenly exploded, and the mud splashed, and the golden light suddenly poured out, and a golden figure, like a sculpture, was motionless in the deep pit, which was the celestial demon puppet that Xiao Yan had strengthened in the void thunder pool. The golden light surged, and then suddenly all gathered on the first golden figure, and then the golden light on the latter's body was completely restrained, and finally its skin turned from dark gold to a strange purple, and under this purple, you could see the golden light flowing. When the golden light was completely restrained, the purple celestial demon puppet's eyes suddenly opened, and the dark golden light slowly flowed in it, and its figure trembled and appeared in front of Xiao Yan in the air, looking at the violent black cloud with indifference, and the golden light flowed under the skin, absorbing the power of 10 celestial demon puppets, and the strength of this puppet has reached a very terrifying level. Not far away, the thick black cloud mixed with the overwhelming cold air surged, and the black cloud surged, and a sharp drink suddenly came out, followed by a huge black palm print, like a small mountain peak, suddenly coming out of the black cloud, and then fiercely slapped down at Xiao Yan, and the space where the palm print passed was directly collapsed into a dark black hole, and a space crack also spread from the void like a spider web. Xiao Yan said, "Just right. Try the power of the celestial demon puppet after it has been improved to the limit." As Xiao Yan's thoughts turned, the celestial demon puppet in front of him, like a statue, also took a slow step forward. The empty indifferent eyes flowed with golden light, and his foot stomped on the void, turning into a purple light, and rushed straight to the sky, and then collided with the huge palm print in a very shocking way. When the two collided, the terrifying momentum swept from the sky, and the earth-shattering explosion was clearly audible within a radius of hundreds of miles. The momentum overflowed, and on the huge palm print, there were actually fine cracks, and as the cracks spread, the energy palm print finally cracked and burst open. The celestial demon puppet charged into the black fog, and Hunley was surprised, and then all sounds completely disappeared. A moment later, the terrifying sound of the boxing wind collision continuously came out from the black cloud. Now, the celestial demon puppet, after being tempered by the void thunderpool and absorbing the power of 10 celestial demon puppets that have reached the level of Dozun, is afraid that even facing the strong of the 9-star Dozun, it can still fight. In the fierce battle inside the black cloud, Xiao Yan's gaze also took the opportunity to turn to another battlefield, where it was the battle between Suner and Hunya. However, judging from the situation where Hunya was completely suppressed and at a disadvantage, Xiao Yan's worry was obviously superfluous. Looking at this situation, if enough time was given to Suner, it was not impossible to kill Hunya on the spot. Suner's strength, I'm afraid, has reached the level of 9-star Dozun, and Hunya is at most the peak of 8-star Dozun. Both of them are people in the ancient races, and the skills and Do skills they practice will not be much different. Hey, this time, if possible, kill these two people here. After all, they are the young masters of the Soul Clan. If they disappear like this, even the Soul Clan will be a bit painful. Xiao Yan's eyes flashed a cold smile. He and Suner had been chasing these two people for nearly a month, and there were many indirect confrontations during the period, and the results were mixed, but these two guys were as cunning as a fox, and they never had a direct contact with them. Now that they have caught this opportunity, they must not easily let go. As Xiao Yan was thinking in his heart about how to completely clean up these two guys, there was a loud explosion inside the black cloud, and the terrifying momentum rippled out from it, directly tearing the black cloud full of cold air, and the golden light and black air shot out, intertwining in the sky to form a gorgeous fireworks. Bang! The black cloud burst, and the two figures also flew out of the black cloud, and finally stepped back in the void for nearly 100 meters before slowly stabilizing their figure. The celestial demon puppet was slightly injured, but Hunley was obviously more embarrassed. He was not only disheveled, but his clothes were also shaken and broken, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. This time, Hunley obviously suffered a great loss. In the Soul Clan, Hunley was known for his desperate fighting style, but his desperate fighting style might have a great effect on other strong people, but facing the celestial demon puppet, which has no sense of pain and only knows to obey Xiao Yan's command, it has no effect at all. One side is a puppet, and the other side is flesh. No matter how you look at it, it is the flesh side that suffers. Hunley was panting in his mouth, looking at the celestial demon puppet that was far away in anger and surprise. He had never expected that Xiao Yan actually had such a thing. After the previous confrontation, he found that even if he was playing with the clan mark, although he could not be afraid of this puppet, the latter was like a turtle shell. No matter how he attacked, it was indifferent, and the most speechless thing was that it could be indifferent to these things. But Hunley could not ignore its attack, and this kind of battle made him very depressed. Xiao Yan, who was far away, looked at the changing face of Hunli with a smile, stretched out a lazy waist, and flicked his fingers. The celestial demon puppet immediately sprang out and fiercely rushed towards Hunli again, and the fierce momentum made Hunli's face even more iron green. In the distant sky, several figures were shooting out like lightning, and behind them, the end of the sky was full of dense energy hurricanes, and finally formed a very terrible chain reaction, causing a huge energy storm in this world to quickly form. Encountering the energy storm of the heavenly tomb, even the strong Do Zun peak will fall here. In the sky of the fierce battle, Suner's palm print filled with golden flames slammed heavily on Hanya's chest, and the terrible momentum directly shook the latter to spit out a mouthful of blood, and he staggered back several steps. After injuring Hanya with one palm, Suner was about to pursue, but his face suddenly changed, and he quickly looked up and saw a dazzling line connecting the sky at the end of the sky, quickly spreading. Looking at the terrifying energy storm that filled the sky, Suner's pupils suddenly shrank, and he immediately stopped his figure, turned his head, and shouted to Xiao Yan, "Brother Xiao Yan, let's go quickly." Hearing Suner's shout, Xiao Yan was also stunned, and then he felt a slight turn of his head, looking at the end of the sky, and immediately took a breath, without hesitation, waved back the celestial demon puppet, moved, and appeared next to Suner, and then in the eyes of the Hanya people, they rushed towards the entrance of the third layer like lightning. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Hanya also turned his head, and his mouth suddenly twitched, and he didn't care about Xiao Yan's two evil stars in front of him. He glanced at Hunli, and then ran like a homeless dog, fighting with Xiao Yan in them. There was still a way to live, but if he was caught in the storm, it was a complete dead end. "Hee, I didn't expect Brother Xiao Yan to be so fast and arrived here early," said the two figures that were present, a man and a woman, who were the Huaxian and the woman in red with a veil on her face. Hearing this voice, Xiao Yan also smiled slightly, arched his hand to Huaxian from a distance, and said with a smile, "Brother Huaxian is not slow either." Huaxian smiled, and the woman in red quickly caught up with Xiao Yan and the others. Glancing at the latter, they were both stunned. "Brother Xiao Yan has been promoted?" "Hee, it's just a stroke of luck," Xiao Yan said with a smile. Seeing Xiao Yan did not deny, Huaxian and the woman in red looked at each other, and they all saw a bit of surprise in each other's eyes. It has only been half a year since they entered the heavenly tomb, and they didn't expect Xiao Yan to be promoted. This speed is quite terrifying. It seems that the two guys from the Soul Clan are also behind? Huaxian glanced back and said with a smile, "I've been entangled with them for a month, but the energy storm has ruined the good things," Xiao Yan said with a light smile. Huaxian's eyebrows couldn't help but pick up, and his heart was a bit shaken. He naturally knew what Xiao Yan's light sentence represented. Hanya and Hunli are both 8-star Do Zun strong men, and their strength is extremely strong. Even if they join hands, they can fight against a 9-star Do Zun, but they didn't get any benefits in the hands of Xiao Yan and Suner. "Brother Xiao Yan, the entrance to the third layer is coming." In the full escape, Suner suddenly looked at the distance and said. Hearing her words, Xiao Yan and Huaxian were both delighted, and they carefully sensed it, and they really felt that there was a familiar energy pressure spreading in the distance. In the distance, a huge energy curtain poured down from the sky, and finally stood vertically on the ground, like a heavenly wall. At this moment, in front of the energy curtain, 4 figures sat cross-legged. After a while, one of them raised his head and looked into the distance and said lightly, "They are all coming, and the energy storm is coming." Soon, several light shadows appeared from the edge of the sky, and then flashed a few times, and appeared in front of this energy curtain. Looking at the 4 people sitting on the ground, they were all stunned. Huaxian looked at the 4 people, and after being stunned, he said softly, "Gu Qingyang, these guys are really fast. Why don't you go in, Brother Qingyang? The energy storm is coming." Suner asked. "The curtain has solidified, and it must be broken open." Gu Qingyang smiled slightly and replied. Subsequently, streams of light flashed from the horizon and finally appeared in this open space. They were the people who entered the heavenly tomb together that day, and now they all looked a bit embarrassed. As for Hanya and the others, They were guarding at the end of the team, obviously being wary of Xiao Yan and the others, worried about being attacked at this time. Everyone, you also understand the situation now. But the energy curtain leading to the third layer has solidified, and we must join hands to break it open to enter. This task cannot be completed by one person. If you want to survive, you must work together. Otherwise, once the storm comes, we will all be in a desperate situation. Gu Qingyang stepped forward, looked at everyone, and said calmly. After hearing this, everyone thought for a while and nodded in agreement. Seeing everyone nodding, Gu Qingyang also smiled slightly, looked at the energy storm rolling in the distance, and said, "Then let's start. Since I proposed this, we will take the lead. Of course, don't blame me for being impolite if someone is plotting, lazy and wants to slide. Don't blame me for being impolite." His gaze turned to Gu Zhan and the other three people and said, "Let's start first. Xiao Yan, sooner. You come later." Xiao Yan nodded slightly. He understood that Gu Qingyang wanted them to stay at the inn to monitor Hunya and the other two. Gu Qingyang said, "Okay, let's start." The four people joined hands, and the attack power was naturally extremely terrifying. Even if the curtain was extremely hard, it also burst into cracks under fierce bombardment. Finally, it cracked and revealed a small hole about 1 zhang wide and 3 or 4 meters high. Seeing the attack effective, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Under the promotion of the surging Do Qi, the opened hole became deeper and deeper. After about 10 minutes of hard excavation, Gu Qingyang and the other four finally stopped. They looked back and had dug a passage about 10 zhang in the solid energy layer. The people behind entered one after another, looking around the energy crystal layer curiously. "Qingyang Commander, let us take over." Seeing Gu Qingyang and the other four stopped, the two men of the Lei clan proposed with a smile. "Hee, then I have to trouble the Lei brothers," Gu Qingyang said with a smile. Then the four of them stepped back, and the two men of the Lei clan stepped forward, and the sound of the passage rumbled again. Suddenly, there was a deafening sound ringing in the back, and then everyone felt that the entire curtain seemed to be shaking fiercely at this moment. The energy storm is coming. This sudden change made the people in the passage look heavy. This huge energy curtain was actually shocked by the storm like this. If they were still outside at the moment, I'm afraid they would be turned into dust in an instant. Everyone speed up. Gu Qingyang frowned and reminded. Hearing his words, everyone nodded, and Hua Xian and the other two who were digging the passage in front also increased the frequency of the attack. As time passed, Xiao Yan and Sooner also took action twice, and the excavation of the crystal layer was not as difficult as imagined. In this rotation, Hunya and Hunli also took a round of hard work under the supervision of Xiao Yan and the two. The passage was constantly filled with the sound of rumbling, and Xiao Yan also closed his eyes slightly. However, just as his eyes closed, a slight strange sound suddenly came into his ears, which made him open his eyes again. He looked at the left crystal wall, reached out and touched it, and was surprised to find a layer of faint energy liquid seeping out from the crystal wall. "What is this?" Xiao Yan was slightly surprised. Then, in the puzzled eyes of Sooner, he flicked his finger, and 2 streams of energy extended from the fingertips, finally connecting with the 2 sides of the crystal wall. Xiao Yan's action attracted the attention of everyone and all the people, including the 2 people who were opening the passage in front, stopped. Gu Qingyang frowned slightly and called him, but Xiao Yan seemed to be oblivious to his call. Then he slowly picked up his head, glanced at the people present, and said in a hoarse voice, "The crystal wall here is closing." Hearing this, the passage suddenly fell into a dead silence. Gu Qingyang's face also looked a bit ugly at this moment. He imitated Xiao Yan's action, waved out 2 streams of energy to sense, and as expected, he felt a subtle pressure along the energy stream back. What the hell is this place? People in the crowd began to curse. Gu Zhan, who was on the side, quickly walked to the crystal wall, reached out and touched it, and said in a deep voice, "There is something inside the crystal wall." As soon as the words fell, he suddenly launched an attack on the crystal wall, immediately creating a crack on it. Vaguely, you can see dense white objects constantly wriggling inside, and some liquid-like things seeping out, quickly covering the crystal wall surface and rapidly solidifying to form a very thin layer of solid energy. So it is these things that secrete energy to repair the crystal wall. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and felt a chill rising from the bottom of his feet. Turning around slowly, he scanned the surroundings, realizing that the energy curtain was actually created by these tiny white insects. Considering their size, the number required to create such a massive curtain was terrifying. They had unknowingly intruded into a colossal nest of insects. As Xiao Yan felt uneasy, Qiong and the others' gazes also solidified on those tiny white insects, their faces gradually turning pale. Sooner explained softly, "These are micro-beasts that lived in ancient times, small in size but endless in number, known as ancient devouring insects. They can devour all matter and continuously secrete pure energy. This creature should have been extinct, but we did not expect to encounter them here." "Qiong, are you trying to kill us all here?" Hunya sneered coldly. "I brought you here, and at least you are still alive. If we hadn't come in, you would have died in that energy storm." Qiong responded indifferently, glancing at the crowd and saying in a deep voice, "Now is not the time to argue. The crystal walls on both sides are closing in. We must break through quickly, or we will all die here." Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. There was a raging energy storm outside. Retreating was death. Staying was also death. The only way to survive was to break through the passage. "From now on, don't hold back your strength," Qiong said in a deep voice, then waved his hand. "Let's do it." Everyone nodded and acted quickly. The dou qi in their bodies erupted without reservation. As everyone worked hard to open up, the crystal walls on both sides seemed to be stimulated by the vibration and slowly crawled, eventually visibly closing in. More and more ancient devouring insects were gathering. "If we continue like this, it won't work. We must slow down the speed at which the crystal walls are closing," Xiao Yan said, shaking his head slowly. Hearing this, Qiong shook his head. "It's useless. Any attack will be devoured by the ancient devouring insects. Blind attacks will only make them secrete more energy." His words had just fallen when he waved his sleeve and sent out a fierce dou qi that hit the crystal wall. The dou qi dissipated as soon as it touched the wall, and the flow of energy liquid at the point of impact became faster. Seeing this, Xiao Yan's eyes showed surprise. "I didn't expect these seemingly insignificant insects, when gathered together, to have such strange abilities." Everyone looked at each other speechless, and finally turned their gaze to Qiong, only to see that he was also frowning, and everyone's hearts sank. "Let me try." Xiao Yan stepped forward, his palm clenched, but he did not exert dou qi. Instead, he summoned a flame that was purple-brown with a touch of pale white, an unusual fire. "Go!" Xiao Yan flicked his finger gently, and when the unusual fire touched the crystal wall, everyone was stunned to see a pit more than 2 feet deep appear where the flame touched, and the residual scorching temperature instantly turned countless ancient devouring insects into ashes. "It seems we haven't reached a dead end yet. These ancient devouring insects can't devour the unusual fire," Xiao Yan said with a smile, seeing the effect of the fire. Everyone also breathed a sigh of relief at this moment, seeing hope again. "Xiao Yan, hurry up and break through the passage." Hunya's eyes also flashed a touch of joy, urging urgently. Xiao Yan turned to the red-clothed woman of the Yin clan and the man of the Yao clan and said, "The task of breaking through the passage is up to me, but I need you to use the unusual fire to fight against the crystal walls on both sides and slow down their closing speed. This task should not be a problem for you." The woman of the Yin clan was named Hua Ji, who possessed the Red Lotus Karma Flame, ranked 8th on the list of unusual fires. Yao Xingji of the Yao clan was known as the Pill Man, and his alchemy skills were extraordinary. Sooner whispered in Xiao Yan's ear, and upon hearing Xiao Yan's proposal, Hua Ji nodded without hesitation, and Yao Xingji, although frowning, had to agree considering the current situation. Xiao Yan also smiled and said slowly, "Everyone also knows that breaking through the crystal wall is a huge project, and using the unusual fire requires a considerable consumption. I alone cannot support it. Therefore, in addition to the 2 of Hua Ji, I also need other people to provide the energy cores in their hands." After this statement, everyone was surprised. Qiong and others did not say much and nodded in agreement. Other tribes hesitated, but did not object in the end. They understood the reason in Xiao Yan's words. Even if they joined hands, they were already feeling tired, let alone Xiao Yan, who had to bear all the work alone. The two men of the Lei clan, after pondering, threw a cloth bag to Xiao Yan, weighing it, and it was probably no less than 100. Seeing the Lei clan take the lead, others also took out cloth bags filled with energy cores and threw them to Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan smiled and put away all the cloth bags, then turned to look at Hunya and the other two. Xiao Yan, you have so many energy cores, isn't it enough? Hunya asked with a slightly cold face. Whether it's enough or not, I have to collect your payment. Xiao Yan smiled and said, if the two of you are unwilling, I won't force it, but please turn around and leave. Seeing Xiao Yan's gesture of invitation, Hunya and Hunli's faces were extremely ugly. The two looked at each other, and in the end, they could only grit their teeth and take out a cloth bag from their arms, throwing it hard to Xiao Yan. Hurry up and start. Hearing the two people's angry urging, Xiao Yan's smile became deeper. Then he looked at the crystal wall in front with a solemn look, turned his head to Huaji and Yao Xingji, and said, the two sides are up to you. Then Xiao Yan's palms slightly clenched, various flames seeped from his fingertips, and in a blink of an eye, they gathered into a fire dragon. He took a few steps forward and stopped in front of the crystal wall, and said in a deep voice, follow me closely, don't fall behind. As soon as the sound fell, the unusual fire in Xiao Yan's hand suddenly surged, accompanied by a deafening dragon roar. The purple-brown fire dragon rushed out of the flames and slammed into the crystal wall fiercely. The crystal wall instantly burst into a huge hole. The tail of the fire dragon was connected to Xiao Yan's arm. He shouted fiercely and rushed forward quickly. The rumbling sound echoed, but the atmosphere was quite tense. Everyone saw Xiao Yan absorb energy cores one bag after another, and they couldn't help but be frightened. This consumption was amazing. Suddenly, Xiao Yan's pace slowed down in front, and he said in a deep voice, no more energy cores. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingyang took out a dazzling 9-star energy core and handed it to Xiao Yan. This is our last one. Xiao Yan took the energy core, but shook his head. I also have one here. Hua Xian hesitated, then took out an energy core. Give me 3 more. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and said. Upon hearing this, everyone was silent for a while. The 9-star energy core was extremely precious to them, and if they died here, no matter how many energy cores would be useless. The Lei clanman sighed, then flicked his finger, and another energy core flew into Xiao Yan's hand. The two strong men of the Shi clan looked at each other and quickly handed over one to Xiao Yan. After the Shi clan handed over the energy core, everyone's gaze turned to Hunya and the other two in the back. Seeing this, Hunya's eyelid twitched, and he had to grit his teeth and take out a 9-star energy core that he had worked hard to get, and threw it to the person he liked the least. With all 5 9-star energy cores in his hand, Xiao Yan slowly exhaled, punched out, and the fire on the fire dragon's body suddenly became more prosperous, turning into a fire shadow like lightning in an instant, piercing through layer after layer of crystal walls. Xiao Yan and the others followed closely behind. This kind of sprint that almost exhausted all their strength lasted for nearly half an hour, and Xiao Yan whispered, almost out. Then he looked up at the emerald-like crystal wall in front, behind which countless ancient devouring insects were spreading. As long as they can break through this obstacle, they can truly enter the 3rd layer of the heavenly tomb. What is this? Just as the fire dragon was about to hit the emerald-like crystal wall, Xiao Yan's gaze suddenly solidified on the center of the crystal wall, where there was a fist-sized object with a faint red glow, which looked like a strange insect cocoon from a distance. Xiao Yan glanced at the cocoon-like object and quickly shifted his gaze, realizing that there was no time to delay. So he stepped forward and merged with the fire dragon. He swung his right fist and slammed it on the crystal wall, and a low explosion suddenly sounded, and a fierce wave of air quickly spread from the palm of his hand, causing the entire passage to tremble. Under the tense gaze of everyone, a thin crack suddenly appeared on the crystal wall, and then quickly expanded, and finally shattered in a burst of sound. Just as the crystal wall shattered, Xiao Yan was extremely fast, and in a flash, he passed through the passage. At this time, an endless gray land appeared in front of him. There was no thick energy fog in the air here, but when they stepped on this land, they could feel the pure energy continuously seeping into their bodies. This discovery made everyone delighted, and then their faces were filled with uncontrollable joy. Xiao Yan said, "The third layer of the heavenly tomb is indeed extraordinary. With just this energy infusion, even if you don't look for energy cores, the cultivation effect is very significant." "Is this the third layer of the heavenly tomb?"